Where are we starting? We're all mixed up now.
What is happening here? Hi, I'm Bob Nelson.
I'm Tracey White.
I'm Jake Schriner.
And I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie. And this is the Compass Conversation Podcast.
Yay!
Welcome. That's the dullest way I've ever said welcome.
Was it?
Welcome.
We can't even fade to black.
Welcome.
We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus.
But we're back.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. All right, good to see you guys tonight. All a little bit weary. Everybody's had long weeks and stuff. Now let's see, where shall we start? Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thank you. Blessed to be here. Yeah, looking forward to a little shorter work week. We're only taking Thursday off, but even still, it'll be nice to have the day. And I got the in-laws in town, so we're going to go have Thanksgiving with them. We haven't had Thanksgiving with them in 7 years?
Wow.
I think, long time. So since we bought our house 5 years ago, and since we have lived at our house, we have hosted my side of the family every year.
Oh,
And now all I have to do is cook one side dish, and it is I'm sorry, 'cause I'm the cook.
What is it?
For
What's
sure.
the side dish?
We're making corn casserole.
All right.
Which is
Corn
really good.
casserole.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's a little corn muffin mix.
Yeah,
Cream corn,
Yep.
whole kernels, sour cream, shredded cheese, a little butter, mix it all and bake it. It's really, really good. Yeah. And then I'm gonna make an Oreo cheesecake right now too.
Yeah.
Yes.
What time are we eating?
5 o'clock, I will text you the address. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And her Colette's sisters will be in town as well. They're coming down from Fort Collins with their kids, and so it'll be a nice full house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it'll be good. We haven't all been together since last Christmas, so yeah, it'll be good.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Thank you for that, man. That's inspiring and encouraging. Sounds like a lot of fun. It's going to be a good day. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday.
It's a good one.
For sure.
Yeah, most of the food. But.
That's a good reason to try not to get miserable eating that one meal.
Okay, well, Jake, glad you're here, man. We're blessed you're here as well as you're blessed that you're here. That's a miss. All right, so Tracey White, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. It's a short week. I get Thursday and Friday off.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to having. It's really just the family here, and then we got some guests coming over. So for Thanksgiving, so
Excited about
enjoy.
that.
Nice.
Weird circumstance I get into.
Yeah, and then I don't know if I said this on the last podcast, but every year I in the Air Force Reserves, I tell the whole squadron, hey, don't be alone during the holidays. If you need a place to go, for Thanksgiving, don't be alone. Come over to my house. The door's always
awesome.
open. And I've been saying that for 10 years since I've been at the squadron now. And I've got a family coming over this year for the first time. So
Cool.
that's really great. It's one of the dudes and his 2 kids are coming over.
That's so great.
That's going to be cool.
Love that.
I asked him, Kathy and I were shopping. I'm like, hey, any food allergies or anything or special requests? He says, no food allergies. How about a pecan pie? I'm like, okay,
Sweet.
We'll make sure that happens because that adds on to the apple pie that Kathy's making as well as the dark chocolate pie.
Hey,
Man.
we know that's good.
Yeah. And we're going to have the traditional stuffed turkey and ham, green bean casserole on the cob, all the other stuff.
I'm bringing ribs.
Yes.
That'll be really great.
What time are we eating?
3 o'clock. Come by.
So you got time.
3 o'clock there?
Yeah.
Castle
When you
Pines at
guys?
5 o'clock. Yeah.
There you go.
Back in time, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it should be an easy week. Normally Thanksgiving week at work, things just kind of drop off. There are a couple of deadlines to meet and everything, but yeah, easy week.
Awesome.
Easy 3 days.
Well, sounds great, Tracey. Glad you're here as well, my friend.
Thank you.
Across the table,
So
Pastor Bob.
yeah, I'm excited to be meeting and eating with you guys. not so excited. My dad was exposed to COVID last
no.
Wednesday.
Right.
So far, no symptoms or anything. I haven't heard if he got the test. He took the test on Friday, so I'm thinking it's going to be pointless results anyway. And not enough time for the viral load to build up. But, so we're just pushing him off until a couple Saturdays from now, and then make sure he's clear from it. But praying for him at the same time because he's 80 now, 80 next year. So and he's still pretty spry for his age, but it's still pretty aged. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's the beginning of probably a long, short week for us because everybody's taking time off, piles onto us. I'm not looking forward to the week personally, but it should be fine. Today was okay, except for I don't know. It was a very weird day in another way. So Saturday had a memorial service for the pastor that married my wife and me, and it was really neat. I actually referenced the Million Little Miracle song right on Sunday morning before we went to service because I was thinking about Riley, and if he joined me when I was not a Christian, and if he had not done that, like what would have kind of happened, because we had talked about that a little bit, would I have gotten to the place where I was, and his only request was that I didn't get in the way of Joy's faith, and then he looked over at Joy and said, he won't be a non-Christian for long. So, which is true. Yeah. So anyway, there's some really cool things in that respect, memories. We got to meet, reconnect with a bunch of people from our past. But then today was a very different memorial service. A friend of ours, a former neighbor, had passed away. She was only 6 months younger than me, and so the different neighbor. So this I've had three memorial services in about less than 2 months, and that's more than the last 5 years, I think. Wow. So it's been kind of rough. Yeah. And but she wasn't a Christian yet, but we had a few conversations, and whatnot. She was a sweet gal. Joy just talked to her a couple weeks ago, and then suddenly, she's gone. So, it's an odd day, but it starts making you think. So, anyway, beyond that, that's me. I'm okay. Really, I am.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. You're okay.
Are you okay?
No, I'm fine. Actually, I'm good. I know that Thanksgiving time can be a volatile time for so many people, right? Which is always interesting because it's usually about strained family relationships and things. Usually, it's that kind of deal. So it's strange because if you looked at it in a different way, that it's a great time to see people, even people you disagree with, that you argue with. Usually I do a message, what is it called, the stress before Christmas? Something like that. I can't remember, But it's about being, how do you deal with family? And I didn't do that this year. But on Thanksgiving, it's for the reasons I was saying Sunday, it's like there's so many kind of attacks that happen about holidays these days. It's like nothing's sacred anymore. It's like, there's challenges to this and to that and historicity of things and all of that. But none of that matters to me because, the fact that we have a national holiday that is for the purpose of giving thanks to God for the blessings that we have. That's essentially it, right? There's no, we've tried to turn it into Turkey Day, whatever that really means. I don't know what that means. We're having turkey. Hey, great turkey. So
that's what happens after the Great Pumpkin.
The Great Pumpkin, the Great Turkey, Charlie Brown.
Wait, where's the money at?
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I just love it because it's, of all holidays, you can always trace a similar kind of holiday to something pagan or, even the Christmas time. But the church over the years would come in and say, this is a grand time. Let's not just worship the trees instead. Let's celebrate the birth of Christ. Sure. I'm cool with that. Let's redeem the holiday. But Thanksgiving, you can't be thankful unless you're being thankful to God or to some inanimate object if you want to do it that way, I suppose. So anyway, I just kind of like the idea of pausing. It's a very biblical idea, a very biblical concept, and it's a great time. Here's the other side reason I like Thanksgiving. It's like it's all of the nice things that could be nice. I understand they could all be bad, but Christmas could be bad too, with family and stuff. But it has all the nice traditions wrapped around it. You enjoy a meal, you get with family, you go play football in the front yard, whatever you're going to do. And you don't have the pressure of buying gifts for everybody. And all the stress of all the things that kind of go along with that. And there's not a ton of decorations.
Wait, you're not getting me a Thanksgiving gift?
I can if you want, man. My gift might be just not coming to your house
The great
to eat.
autumn leaf bag man is supposed to come down the chimney.
So, autumn leaf bag man. Oh, it's the bag man.
That's a good idea. We should run with it.
You can start that. There's a market for that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Leaf bag man.
Well, anyway. So it's sort of like football day or it's turkey day if you want to secularize it somehow, but it just simply makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's I could go on and on about that. But anyhow.
I like that thought. That's a good thought.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. I just see it as an opportunity to bless everybody that can, and to, if I have a family member, and I haven't been in that situation in a long time, but I'm also at an age where I'm much more thoughtful about how the people I wish were around my table, who have gone on, and I am thankful for them in hindsight. So now I see Thanksgiving, so I have my oldest son and family coming in tonight, 11:20 tonight, and they're here late Friday night. But so I'm seeing that as an opportunity to just pause, enjoy the moment, enjoy being with them, being thankful for them, just being with everybody. Just have time to pause and reflect. So all of that, I've been cleaning my house. So in that regard, I'm not okay. I'm not okay for that. And it's still not done. I left Leona. God bless her. What a great woman she is. She's just...
Well,
but still, I'm helping. I've been doing all this other stuff too, but it's not done.
I understand the house cleaning thing. We've been doing that here too. And which I tell Kathy, why don't we just keep it clean? That way we don't have to.
We never have to do that.
Right. We don't
That's why we like having everybody over to the house if we have to.
Right. 3 times a year, we're going to have everybody over.
What's sad about this is that the way I'm talking is taking so long to clean. Is like, you must be a genuine pig when this is around. What a disaster this place. But it's not really that bad. It's just stuff. Like I have one plumbing thing I've got to fix before leaving things over. It's the bathroom sink situation. So
You got
that kind of stuff.
You need some help with that?
If not, I'll give you a call.
All right.
Crazy. No, I think it's pretty simple.
YouTube's a wonderful tool for that.
Yes.
No, it's
Definitely.
and often better to watch before, not after. It's a great way to find out what you did wrong.
Well, all right, guys. Well, anyway, glad we're here with some Morey tonight. Hope he's going to be all well. We'll see him next time around. But it's good to see you guys. Glad you're here. There's enough of us now. The podcast can endure.
Yeah.
I could have just stayed home. It's still.
I mean, there was.
We did it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
3 of us.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it went well.
I think you did a great job, man.
Great. Yeah.
So let's talk about Sunday weekend message. Anything you guys want to yak about?
So we need to be communist, right?
Right,
Okay.
comrade.
Wait.
Wrong. Wrong.
Giving our possessions to those in need. Yeah.
Well, I try to make that as clear as I can.
It's one of those passages that people take very much out of context.
Oh, sure.
In a whole lot of
Absolutely.
ways. Yeah.
You call yourself a Christian? How come you hadn't sold everything you had and give it to people? Well, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It is. But here's the thing about it, though. You're looking at whenever you are really on with something, those kinds of things aren't as important to you. That's sort of the message that we're getting here, is that nothing was more important to them.
Yeah.
They suddenly saw the temporary nature of even possessions and things on this planet.
Right.
And they were generous with them. It's not, like I said, they didn't just let's all go on the mountains and sell everything and have beads. And
You started telling you.
yeah, and there have been people who have tried to take that
Brandon
message.
idiot.
Even the communists
Yeah.
try to use this to, but that's not the idea.
And then one of the funny things is that's the only place you see that in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's when you're looking at the New Testament and the early church, it kind of pops up a little bit later, and then you have the whole Ananias and Sapphira. Oh, here's our stuff. No, it isn't. You're dead.
Yep.
You know, you have that little spot right there, and it's like that's where it stops. And Paul later, does say, help other people after you met your own needs, and that's so getting to your.
Yeah, it's
One-
perspective of the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
Bible.
yeah.
It's not just in one spot.
Mhm.
But the heart behind it is still valid. It's this idea of you're not giving like Ananias and Sapphira, which we didn't talk about on Sunday.
Mhm.
But for those who might not know, as Bob was saying, he comes in, he sold a portion, he acted like it was all of it. And immediately, because he was lying literally before God as he was doing this, he dropped dead.
Yeah.
And they drag him away, and then his wife comes in, same thing. So all these people now, it's right. Everybody's like, we don't want to mess around with this. So it wasn't a compulsory thing; it was an overflow joy thing.
Right.
But I also suspect that in the same way that churches. I used to call it they have a Sunday school class, and it was us four, no more, close the door, because we were so tight.
Right.
You're no longer thinking outward, that these guys probably could have turned that thing into a little commune, a little sect of Judaism, and just been them taking care of each other. Which is sort of the point, but this is the point at the same time.
Sure.
So, from then on, you start hearing about living with great generosity. So it's like the principle of tithing in the Old Testament is enhanced further by the idea of just being generous.
Right, because it comes in more than one form. I mean, it might be, you could be generous with your time and talent, not just with your stuff and your money, Although I think that definitely is part of it as well, which is why we give, why we use each other's houses for get-togethers and stuff like that.
Yes.
Or we use our personal equipment to, haul stuff back and forth to the church, signs.
Yeah, why the signs are on the back of my car.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's being generous with what you've been blessed with, and you're doing that not begrudgingly. It's or because you have to. It's just something that you want to do, and I think that is kind of the spirit of what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that was a cheerful giver, not a miserable giver.
Oh, here you go. You could contribute.
Well, I mean, I also, well, I mean, that idea of the tithing was a 10% thing. And so sometimes I have heard some people say, well, I just tithe my time. I don't think you thought that through. Let's see, 24 hours.
What's your time?
I don't think you're giving that much of your time.
Is that on that gross of 2,080 hours? 2,080 minutes.
Anyway,
Work week?
Right.
What's your billing rate? I mean,
yeah, I didn't want to get locked down.
No.
But that's another message another day. But yeah. Anything else about the message, though? I mean, you started us off with such a weird.
Sorry, I had to do it. It was setting them up for something that would happen later, for success in something later. Because just 10 years down the road, they were all scattered because of the persecution and whatnot. And then the church in Jerusalem was facing a huge famine, and the people in other churches in other areas were raising money that they didn't have to send back. So it was setting that stage to be able to support people. Much like, in a lot of ways, you brought in the video for, supporting missionaries over in Mozambique. So it's that same thing. It's, giving that support, that the overflow of our life to help others. It's for the purpose of glorifying God.
Yeah, and I also think it's so cool and interesting that it came full circle with the Jews and the Gentiles there.
Yeah.
First they're kind of suspect, and now it's Gentiles that are sending money. It was a beautiful thing. Anyway, was somebody about to say something like I interrupted? Was that you? Was it?
No, I was kind of looking ahead. It was something that we didn't get, a verse that we didn't get to.
Right.
And I didn't know if you were going to bring it up later. I didn't want to spoil anything.
I will say, I did chop the end of the message off, because I looked at the time.
Yeah.
Nope, and I knew we were at a good place, especially after the video.
Yeah.
That was a great place to draw to. Which verse would that be, Trace?
No, well, I mean, I like so just in the Acts 2, the general kind of where everybody was going and that everybody was getting on the same page together. They were empowered through the Spirit. Everybody was getting baptized, 3,000 people, and then the numbers kept multiplying, and they were helping each other out. They were praying. They were devoting their time to prayer and breaking bread with each other and all that kind of good stuff, praising God and all that. But so I was curious about the tie-in with the 2 Corinthians verse in there. So 2 Corinthians, the Christian Standard Bible, says, "We all, with unveiled faces, are looking as in a mirror at the glory of the Lord and are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory." And this is from the Lord who is the Spirit. And then the New Living Translation is, "So all of us who have had that veil removed can see and reflect the glory of the Lord," which I think is really cool. So whenever you're all in like that and you understand that, and that the veil of everything else is being removed, you kind of understand the glory of the Lord, which is amazing. And if everybody could live in that today as they were doing in that small place at the time, then the world would be fixed. It would just be so
sure.
It would be great. But yeah.
But we got involved.
What did you say?
But we got involved.
Well, I was going to say, yes, that is a verse I did not get to.
Yeah, I
The
like
whole
that verse.
point that yes, and I put both versions in there on purpose, of course, for a little bit of clarity. And the context of that original idea was a throwback to Moses, who would see God as a friend, speaks to a friend face to face, but he had to begin covering his face with a veil,
right?
Because his face would be shining so. It was the glory of the Lord. But the point that he is making in that Corinthians passage is that eventually it began to fade.
Mm-hmm.
And that today, as we pursue a lifelong journey, pursuing it's like the veil has been lifted, and we're just going from glory to glory to glory as we grow in our faith. Yeah. So I didn't have time to really get into it, but I was kind of start with it.
Well, now you don't have to, because the 5 viewers were sitting right here that we're going to have on that video.
Hopefully we'll have more. But yeah, I want to say that whole getting on board thing was a lifelong journey. It was a process, and then the following verses. What's the next one?
New Living Translation is, "And the Lord, who is the Spirit, makes us more and more like Him, as we are changed into His glorious image."
Yeah, and I just think that the NLT, God bless them, actually that's a much clearer.
Yeah.
Although the other is an excellent translation, it's sort of it clarifies it a little bit.
Right.
But beyond that, the next verse was from. That's not the last verse, right?
Oh, there was John 15.
Yeah.
You talking about that verse?
Mm-hmm.
"My Father is glorified by this, that you produce much fruit and prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in His love. I have told you these things so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete.
Yep. Your joy may be complete.
Yeah.
And you may recall that the last point that I was on had to do with the generous and joyful hearts.
Yes.
And so we were going there a little bit more, to flesh that out a little bit more. But that is that lifelong. I mean, it's like the pursuit of holiness, the pursuit of Jesus throughout our whole life is ultimately a pursuit that results in ultimate joy. Beyond all of the things we were talking a little bit earlier before the podcast about addictions and things like that, they're just a shadow of reality. They are like cotton candy to genuine nutrition. You know? It's like,
but to be clear, not that it makes us hardened hearts for that sort of thing.
right.
We genuinely have even a softer heart for that. But we understand that there's something far beyond it. Yeah.
Yeah, the closer you get to God, the more your heart breaks for those that are falling in whatever they're falling in. You know, it doesn't matter, addiction or, those folks in Mozambique that are witch doctors and whatnot. You know, that's whatever the situation is. I mean, my friend that's died at 49. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think of losing your life that young. And she was a really bright spot in everybody's life. And I knew that we knew her, and she'd been moved away several years ago, but we stayed in touch on Facebook. But at the same time, I also know that she didn't have a relationship with God. She was culturally Jew, but she was not anywhere near her. The rabbi that gave the service didn't know her, so she might have been spiritual like a lot of people are, but she didn't know the truth. And just like that, that's still a reflection, a counterfeit of the reality that we can have that pushes us to that greater joy. It definitely softens our hearts.
Yeah, it does. And Jesus, all about compassion, and that's why hardened to others. It's just like if you have genuine joy, you want others to know that joy.
Yep.
Right? You share that light, even though you haven't fully attained all of it yourself. And that's the other passage. Is that the next verse?
After that was the closing verses.
Okay.
So,
unless
it was one before that. There's
press on.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Yeah, because you want to be out of here, right?
The first press on.
I meant the first press.
Oh.
Not that I've already received it.
You did go over that. Not that I've already received it, but I press on it.
Right.
The upward column.
Yeah. So you did go over that one then.
That was a Matthew one, right?
No.
My commentary on that is for folks who don't like watching sports, there's still a lot of sports metaphors in the Bible.
I want to say one other thing here about this before we go, about the video that you're referencing here.
Yes.
So, a couple of missionaries, that witch doctor situation is really touching.
It was,
and when that wall came down, they knocked that wall down. It's just a reminder, that just because things are difficult doesn't mean you shouldn't do them or are called to do them. And the power that is giving us the strength to follow and to obey doesn't come from within ourselves. God's already at work. In fact, when he talked about the harvest being white, it's ready. There are a lot of people God's already primed in their hearts. He's just waiting for some of us to have the courage to invite or to share. So anyway, I always get a little choked up with those guys because they took their family several years ago too, and that's just so courageous and awesome. God's protected them. They give a massive impact.
Yeah,
We want to support guys like that.
Right.
What else, guys?
So watch the service, you'll see the video. It's worth it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it is interesting, that video, it is the witch doctor at the end says, give your whole spirit to the Lord.
Yes.
Be brave, be courageous. And it's amazing the switch you can see, because not that he went into her background or anything, but you got to think, like, that's somebody that had her whole life, you know, convinced that this whole witchcraft thing was real. And then it's this switch, and she's the one saying, "Go give your whole spirit to the Lord." And it's so powerful. Yeah, it's huge.
It's like you never know. It's like, for me, because I'm a pastor, people already have walls sometimes about talking to me. But when I am able to share Christ with somebody and their hearts are changed, they know tons of people I don't know who have never spoken to me. And they begin to invite, and it's amazing what happens. I've seen that in waves even as we've planted Compass Church with different groups of people that have come through. Yeah, it's something always to keep in mind too. You never know what God's going to do in someone's life. Somebody, I think you guys have heard of Billy Graham, the famous evangelist. Someone shared Christ with Billy Graham. and the impact that people came to Christ as a result of his ministry later. Think about it.
Yeah.
So
That's huge.
yeah. Anyway, cool stuff, guys.
Yeah.
What else before we head out?
Well, there's a reason why that all works.
What is it, Pastor Bob?
That would be the John 3:16. For God so loved us that he so loved the world, that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. And as Morey likes to say, read it again, memorize it, throw that one in there. But then do something about it.
What are you going to do with that now?
What are you going to do with it?
It's a huge thing that we wouldn't have the ability to have the generosity that we can have, but we wouldn't have the ability to do what we do if it weren't for that love that God so richly gave us.
I just think that it's huge. The creator of the universe, who spoke everything into existence, loves you.
Yeah.
Loves you. Individually,
And David in 2 different places said that what is man that you're mindful of him? What is the Son of Man that you're thinking of him?
Yeah.
So I'm butchering the last part. But the point is that he's like, why are you even thinking of me?
Put my hope in you, O Lord.
There you go.
Well, that's awesome. That's a good way to wrap things up, guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate the conversation. You ready for final words before we do? We meet every Sunday somewhere in the world, but always online. And you can find us on Facebook at Compass Church Colorado. And you can discover more at compassdenver.com. We'd love to have you as our guest this Sunday. All right, guys, final words.
Thumbnail. Okay. Love you guys. Thanks for doing this week after week. Been enjoying it. Love everyone out there.
Likewise.
This has been great.
I'm sorry, what did you say there?
I said this has been great.
This has been great. Yes, it has. So grace and peace to you. That's all we have for tonight, and we are out. Check you later.
Guess what?
We won't follow you.